Hey! Thank you everyone for coming. We'll get started with the actual class at 2 o'clock. Right now it's time here 1:43, so about 15 or so minutes before we get started with the actual lesson. How's everyone doing? And yeah, if you're wondering what the topic is, please look at the title. It's right there. It's always right there. Hey Maria, welcome. Joe Turner. Let's see, who else is here? Any other members here? Anyway, welcome to everyone. If you have any questions unrelated to the live stream, you can feel free to ask those now. I will also do a short Q&A at the end of this live stream, just like I usually do for like 10-15 minutes. Yes, this will be the last live stream until I get back from Korea. I'm going to be going to Korea very soon. Not this week. At the end of this month, actually. But in order to go at the end of this month, I have to do a lot of preparation, which means I'm not going to be able to do a live classroom because these actually take quite a lot of preparation time to do. I usually spend half or most of the day on Thursday preparing for this for the lesson. That's when I write the outline, come up with all the sentences, get them checked, think about it more, add more notes. All that stuff happens on Thursday. And then Saturday, it takes up the entire day from morning until late at night, or whenever I finish editing, maybe around 7 o'clock or so. So yeah, because I need extra time to make sure I'm ready for going to Korea, even though I'm not going right now, I'll be leaving at the end of the month. I still need a lot of extra time to do that. So this will be the last classroom. I'm not saying it'll be the last live stream. I might do one more live stream before I go to Korea, as well as when I'm in Korea, of course, I will try to do regular live streams once a month while I'm there, just for fun. But as far as classrooms go, where I actually teach a topic and I have an outline and all this stuff, this will be the last one until, I want to say, toward the end of August. So that's about, let's see, June, July, August. Yeah, about 3 months. I'd say about the last one for a little over 3 months. Lauren, you say, I went to a K-pop concert yesterday. Who was it? What K-pop group did you go see yesterday? Couple people wrote in another language. Please keep the conversation in English only. English only, please. English or Korean. Live with Hyunwoo. Yeah, that would be nice. I'm not sure, though. It depends on his schedule. I haven't done a live with him on my channel before, but I have done a few lives with him on Talk to Me in Korean before. Maybe that'll be something we can do. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. That could be fun. CIX? Is that another... I don't know. Is that another K-pop group? Are they new? Are they small? Should I know them? Darlene says, I saw BTS in Vegas last month. Wow. Do they speak a lot when they do their tours? Like at their concerts? Do they also speak like in Korean or do they speak in English? I don't know how that would be. Do they come up on the stage and, most of the people watching are, if they're in Vegas, most of the people are going to be speaking English. Do they still speak in Korean when they do their concerts? I'm curious. Bob Ross and Mr. Rajan. No, please don't compare me or to any sort of amazing people like that. As far as their contributions to stuff, no way. But thank you, but no. I'm going to see Monsta X next month, says Nika. That'll be pretty cool. I have heard of Monsta X before. I'm not sure of any of their songs, but I've definitely heard of them before. Daniela says they try to speak in English mostly. Mostly RM. Okay, so mostly RM speaks in English. They speak in both sometimes. Interesting. I'm seeing Stray Kids in New Jersey. Interesting, New Jersey. That'll be fun. One of these days, I'll go to a K-pop concert. One of these days, someone will invite me. Like I'm not gonna pay with my own money. I don't really have money to just go around and do concerts and stuff. But one of these days, one of the groups will be like, "Hey, Billy, you want to come to our concert and go backstage and film a video?" And I'd be like, "Sure." But until then, no, I haven't been to any K-pop concerts before. RM does primarily English, but the others try English, but they say more when they are comfortable. That makes sense. I've heard them speak a little bit of English before on I think someone sent me a clip of them on a talk show a couple years ago or something. And I do remember hearing some of them speaking kind of in English. I'm not sure if they've since gotten better or if that's maybe they just don't use very much English. Stella's mom, welcome. 안녕하세요. Nice. Everyone coming in right now, we are starting the live stream in about 10 minutes. This is just free time to get ready before we start the lesson. While we're here, since I've got you here, I've got about 74 of you here so far. I figure I'll make a few announcements. As usual, as always, you can get the outline for every single live stream I've ever done since I started on Patreon. So if you go to Patreon right now and you donate $1, you can access every single outline. Most of them are one page. Some of them are two. And it has every single sentence I use, most of the explanations I use. Those are all on Patreon. Again, for every level. That's just one way to thank the people who support me. But again, you don't have to pay a lot. It's $1. Also, there are worksheets for most of the live streams. This worksheet is pretty short. I think it's only 6 extra questions. The worksheet is usually the overflow example sentences that I have. Because when I make a lesson, I might prepare anywhere from 10 to 20 or 30 example sentences. And then I pick the best ones and the extras, instead of throwing them away, because that's a waste, they're good sentences, I'll put them on a worksheet. So that'll be just, some of them are much more difficult. Sometimes I'll pick it. I won't pick them because they're too difficult to explain in a live stream, but they're still a very natural example. So you can check out all of those also on Patreon. Again, same thing. If you donate $1 or more, you get to get every single worksheet I've ever made. And if you are a member of this channel, so if your name is in green in the chat, you also get another benefit. Actually, you get a couple benefits. You get a few benefits. First one is you get to watch these live stream abridged versions the same day that they go up. So tonight, you can watch today's lesson abridged. So if you don't want to, if you can't, whatever, you're busy and you can't come to the live streams, you can still watch them through the abridged version, usually about 10 minutes or so. Those videos you get to watch, if you're a member, you get to watch them tonight. So everyone else can watch them, of course, for free. I don't like putting my stuff behind a paywall. Everyone else can watch them for free, usually Wednesday morning, but members get to watch them Sunday night. Another thing that members get, actually, let me do this first. If you don't already know, I have an active Discord channel. You can find a link in the video description. Oh, hey, Secretive. Secretive is one of my moderators. Welcome. Thanks for coming. If you are a Discord member, many of you are. If you're not, check out the link. I just posted it in chat. You can join. It's free. It's open 24/7. You can ask questions in there. Go to the Korean Questions channel. It's usually fairly active. There are lots of people here who can answer your questions. There are even lots of native speakers who hang around there sometimes too. So just join there. It's free and it's open. Also, I have pinned to the chat some of my merchandise. It's just another way to support me. If I ever catch anyone wearing my merchandise in Korea, I'm going to stop you and ask, not gonna hit you. I'm going to stop you and I'm going to ask you for a photo. Speaking of which, I will be going to Korea very soon by the end of this month. I won't give the exact date. It's not right now. I'm not going like in a week or anything like that. I'm going at the end of the month. And when I'll be in Korea this time until the beginning of August. So from the end of this month until the beginning of August. So I'll say that. If anyone else is in Korea this time, let me know. I'm really excited. I go every single year, and I'm really looking forward to it. It should be fun. And if you're already aware, you're probably aware, it is now open again. So if you want to travel, you've been waiting, you have no excuses now. You can travel to Korea again. If you're worried, I don't want to go to Korea because, everything's closed. No, everything's open. Pretty much. Like 95% of stuff is open again. So you can do pretty much anything you want to now if you were to go to Korea. And in fact, I predict it's going to be much busier this year than it was last year. Last year, some areas were quite empty where they would normally be very busy. And as well as, probably all the way since the end of the very beginning of 2020. But anyway, a lot of stuff is open again. Tourists are going there again. So if you're thinking of a trip to Korea, now is a good time. I'm not getting paid or anything to say this. I really wish the Korean government would sponsor me and pay me so that I could promote Korea. But no, I'm just doing it for free. It's a great time to visit Korea. Weather-wise as well, weather's great. It's going to be good until I'd say July, and then it gets quite hot. July, August, September. And then after that, you'll get nice weather for a bit. Let's see who else came here while I was talking. Christopher, welcome. Am I the only one learning Korean not because of K-pop? I didn't learn Korean because of those. A lot of people don't, but it is the main reason. Beatrice, welcome. Stationary Bunny. Stressor mother, I get so much stress. Yes. Thanks for making the beginner course. Oh, and that reminds me. So I have one more really big announcement, and that is, so I have my Master Politeness Levels course, which is now up to lesson 4 that you can watch on my channel. If you are a channel member, excuse me, if you are how am I pronouncing this? If you're a member of my YouTube channel, you also get access to watch the entire course right now. Woohoo! It's all uploaded. So it'll be uploaded for free every week. You'll get a new episode. Some weeks I'll move around the schedule, but every week there will be a new episode. So for the next 20 weeks, it will be just new episodes of that course going up on my channel. But if you are a YouTube member, so a member of my channel, you can watch the entire series right now. It's all completed. I just posted the last episode this morning for members. So that's just an extra thank you to members. Again, it's not a paid course. It will be completely free. Members simply get to watch it in advance as just a special thank you. I want to give something extra for people who support me financially. But again, I don't want to keep my stuff behind a paywall. So it will be free. If you can't afford it, Don't worry, really, it's going to all be free. It'll just be uploaded once per week. So that's just an extra benefit. So you can check that out right now. It is all open if you're a member of my channel. I especially recommend episode 21 and 22, if you're wondering. The episodes about mixing politeness levels. I feel like that is like the main point of the whole course is after we've established how to use all these politeness levels and what they mean and how they're used together and stuff like that. Then some of the later episodes, after we finish that, the later episodes kind of put it all back, like summarize it and talk about how they're mixed, like in actual usage, not like just in textbooks and not just the basics, but like really specific examples you'll see in some of those episodes. And then episode 23, I believe, covers the older politeness levels, which aren't really used so much, but it does kind of introduce those a little bit and covers those just so you have an idea of what you're missing out, what's not being used anymore in that sort of sense. Because there are technically 7 politeness levels, but you'll only use typically 3 or maybe 4 these days. So Trannel. Yeah, the YouTube channel. I can't speak English, okay? I've been doing so much Korean studying lately. Not just lately, but since... I mean, I do it all the time, but like especially even more. I've been doing more Korean studying as well since maybe last summer. I started picking it up like a lot more than usual. Kaylee Sky says, I just finished Korean Made Simple Book 1 today. Oh, congratulations. Nice. Sue asks, can you put together some of the best restaurants you've been to in Korea? I did a video about my favorite Korean foods, but that's probably the closest thing to that you'll get because while there are some good restaurants that I recommend, I'm hesitant to recommend some of them because they give away, a couple of them would give away exactly where I live when I'm in Korea. One of them's like next door to where I'm staying in Korea every time. And it's like one of the best places I know. It just so happened that it's right there. Because I always stay in a city called Suwon whenever I'm in Korea. And, Suwon there's not a lot of stuff to do there. It's like kind of like it's like a suburb kind of. It's like right outside Seoul. It's about 45 minutes to an hour or so, depending on what part of Seoul you're trying to get to. But there are a lot of good restaurants in Suwon. It's kind of like people will go to Suwon specifically for certain restaurants. And there are a few really, really, really good ones. So I don't really want to, I don't know if I want to do that because it's going to be, it would end up being like 3 or 4 restaurants that are in Suwon, like 2 of them that are right next to my house. And then a bunch of other ones that are in Seoul that that might be really expensive. I can't go to again. So the other issue would be, it would be very expensive to make a video like that. I would have to go back to those restaurants, which I normally just go to eat, but I would have to bring my camera, order a bunch of the stuff I like, do a bunch of days scheduled to film this. And in the end, my food videos don't get very many views, really. So it's not worth it to me if only a few hundred people want to watch that, if it costs me, say, $500 to buy the food to make that video. So likely not. My recommendations are just kind of like my personal recommendations where I think. But if you watch my Instagram, especially my Instagram stories when I'm in Korea, you'll see that I post a lot of the places I go to. And I'll just say, oh, this place has the best, whatever. Or this place has the best, whatever. So you won't know which of those is close to where I live. But you'll see I post a lot of that stuff. Cypher, you might think that, but there are some people actually that are, a little weird that actually do try to. So I'm careful about that. Booksketball asks, will that form be covered in the politeness level series is not about specifically grammar forms. It's about the grammar forms that are necessary to use politeness levels, but it's not a grammar course. And that's explained in the first episode. But if you watch the beginner Korean course, which is already all up on my channel, that's 100 episodes. The beginner Korean course does cover that form. So make sure to watch that. Rita says, tonight I dreamt, okay, this is the last question because I have to start. Tonight I dreamt I was watching the stream and asked something and Billy called me stupid. No, I will never call anyone stupid, at least not directly to their face. I would be a total jerk. No, if I did that, I would not do that. Hey, superfluous, welcome. Or is it superfluous? Okay. So again, this will be the last live stream until I come back from Korea at the end of August. Sorry, not last live stream, last class until I come back to from Korea toward the end of August. I'll do a couple more live streams while I'm in Korea, but this will be the last class. Oh, that's hot. Ah! Okay. The prerequisites for the lesson are you need to know how to conjugate verbs. 100%. You need to be you need to be uncomfortable. You need to be comfortable with conjugating verbs. Specifically, you need to know how to conjugate a verb into an adjective. So if you know the descriptive verb 슬프다, to be sad, can you say sad person? Can you say that? Yes or no? Yes, you're ready for the lesson. No, you're not ready for this lesson yet. So that's what I'm talking about here. So you want to make sure you can conjugate descriptive verbs to describe something. So 예쁘다, to be pretty. Can you say a pretty dog? Anything like that. And then making questions. That's pretty simple. Just want to make sure you know how to make some questions because sometimes this form will be used with questions. We have 3 different things we're going to be learning today. 3 different sections. And I have this lesson, half of this lesson is for beginners. The other half is for maybe high beginner or low intermediate. So if you're wondering what level the lesson is for, I'd say from mid beginner until low intermediate is what the lesson's for. There's nothing I have in here that's crazy difficult and nothing I have in here that's really simple. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we're going to be learning how to say, so today we're going to be learning how to say about. About. The way you do it, you take a noun. So whatever something is about, and you attach the particle a. Let me rewrite that. After that, you attach 대, 해, and optionally, you can also attach 서, 대해서, or 대해. There's another form we're also going to be learning about next, but for now, let's just focus on this one. Again, the 서 is completely optional. It does not change the meaning of your sentence. Using it or removing it will not make your Korean sound more natural. It's simply optional. So, this means about when you're describing an action. So anytime you have an action about something, you'll use this form. Other ways you can, so actually let me give you an example. I know, in action, to know, I know about that. I learned about that. Did you ask? Action, about that. Anytime you're describing an action and you're saying about, you'll use this form. And that's all there is to it. Other translations, though, I said this means about, but there are many other ways you can also see this translated. One of the most common ways you'll see this translated is on. For example, I read a book on Korean history, or I read a book about Korean history, or perhaps regarding, concerning, with respect to, etc. Just know that about is merely one way that this form translates, but it's not required. You can translate it any way you want. It all means the same thing. On, about, regarding, concerning, with respect to, and maybe others. So, that's all you need to know about this form. Let me give you a couple examples. Let's do a really simple one. 저는 그것에 대해 알고 싶지 않아요. 알고 싶지 않아요 is from 알다 to know. So 알고 싶다 means I want to know. 알고 싶지 않다, here as 않아요, is don't want to know. So I don't want to know. What don't I want to know? Again, this is an action. Again, this is an action. 알다, to know, is an action verb. So when you are describing an action and you want to say about, you use this form, 에 대해. 그것에 대해 is about 그것, that thing, literally. So I don't want to know about that. I don't want to know about that. 저는 그것에 대해 알고 싶지 않아요. So I don't want to know about that. Okay, I'll leave this up for a second. Let me just check the chat. Don't worry, we're going to be talking about another form in a second. We're also going to be comparing the two forms. So hold on there. Hey, small. Yes, that's right. A couple of people wrote in the chat, I don't want to know about that thing. I don't want to know about that. Yes. Okay, so that's pretty simple, right? Anytime you're using an action verb, anytime you're doing an action and you want to describe something about, you'll use this form, 에 대해 or 에 대해서. Again, I could have also written 서 here. It would have the exact same meaning. No difference. So don't worry. When should I use it? Doesn't matter. Okay, let's do the next sentence. Let's make a little bit higher level sentence because I feel like the last one is very, very basic. So let's do a little bit higher level. 그 영화에 대해서는 아는 게 없어요. 그 영화, that movie. So about that movie. Now here we added the topic marker, 는. That simply adds emphasis. So about that movie. So when it comes to about that movie, so I'm going to be talking about that movie now. As far as that movie is concerned, 아는 게 means 아는 것이. 게 is just a shortened version of 것이. So 아는 것, something that I know. 아는 게 없어요. So there is nothing that I know when it comes to that movie. So when it comes to that movie, I don't know anything. There's nothing that I know, literally. 그 영화에 대해서는 아는 게 없어요. So I don't know anything about that movie. Again, since this 는 is simply for emphasis, you could remove it if it's confusing you. You could just say 그 영화에 대해서는, you could just say 그 영화에 대해 or 에 대해서 아는 게 없어요, and you're also perfectly fine. It sounds natural as well. The 는 simply adds more emphasis. I just want to make that clear, so you don't have to worry, you don't have to like get confused about it, like you have to use it. No, it's just to add emphasis here. So you could also just think of it like this. 그 영화에 대해 아는 게 없어요. Good. Okay, this one. I want you to finish this sentence. I want you to finish this sentence any way you'd like. 이 선수. 선수 means like a sports player. 이 means this. So about this sports player, anything you want. You can make it a sentence. You can make it a question. You can say anything you want. I just want to see what you're gonna write to finish this sentence. I just want to see you use it. The answer I have is a question if you're curious, but there isn't really a right or wrong answer for this. As long as it makes sense. Lady E Black, it's completely optional. It makes your sentence a little longer. It doesn't make your sentence sound more fancy or less fancy or anything. It just makes the sentence a little bit longer. Audrey, very nice. Ayakata, remember this is for actions. You're doing something. If you say you're not interested, you would just use to or for a person. So the particle for to. So either like ante or ege. Sorry, I was like having a blank there for a second. I was like, how would I say that in credit? Oh yeah. Remember, about this player is what you're saying. 선수에 대해 무엇을 알고 싶어요? What do you want to know about this player? Okay, very good. So you can't say 관심 없어 for that, is what I was saying. 이 선수에 대해 모르는데, so I don't know about this player, okay? And then whatever else you want to say after that could be fine. 아무것도 읽고 있어. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Cypher. Maybe give it another try. There's nothing, okay, 싫어하는 게 없어요. There's nothing that I don't like about this player, okay? You could use 이다 if you're simply saying it is about that player. 이 선수에 대해서요. Something like that. 이 선수에 대해요. 에 대해서요. Either, like that. So, like, it's about this player, but you're not saying anything other than that. You're just saying it is about this player. 이다, it is. So you're not describing any action, but it's just ending the sentence pretty much. Like if someone says, what are you talking about? Or who are you talking about? 이 선수에 대해서요. Or you probably would just make a full sentence, though. 이 선수에 대해 얘기하고 있어요. Would be more common anyway. Persian Prince, what is it you're trying to say for the second part of your sentence? Are you trying to say 몰라요? You could just say 몰라요 if you don't know. But there is no 고 없다 grammar form. 말하고 싶지 않아요? Okay, that's good. 선수에 대해 이야기 많이 들었어요. Okay, I've heard a lot about this player. I see Maria using the previous example, but that works. Is there anything you know about this player? Okay. 이 선수에 대해 알고 싶지 않아요? Okay, that's good, Luke. Very nice. I saw a lot of good sentences. Let me give you one that you can use as well. 이 선수에 대해, so about this 선수, this sports player, 어떻게 생각해요? Literally, how do you think? So how do you think about this player? Note that how you think is how you say, what do you think? If you say, 무엇을 생각해요, is not how do you think. That's not what do you think. That would sound awkward. So it's not literally what do you think, 무엇을 생각해요. That they understand what you're trying to say, but it sounds awkward. It is actually, how do you think? So how do you think about this player? So what do you think about this player? 이 선수에 대해 어떻게 생각해요? This is a very common construction you can simply memorize. 에 대해 or 에 대해서 어떻게 and then 하다, any sort of form of that. Very common expression. How do you think about so-and-so? What did you think about that? What did you think about this? What do you think about that? Like anything like that. You can use in past tense, 생각했어요, or present, 생각해요. You can use it in honorific, 생각하세요, or even honorific in formal speech, 생각하십니까? Whatever. It all works. 어떻게 with 생각, very common. So just kind of think of these together. 하나 텔레비전 프로그램을 볼 거예요. Kaylin, nope. Because that would be like saying, I'm going to watch about this player. But then you insert their television program. So what you're actually trying to say is, you're not describing an action there. You're actually describing a noun, television program. You wouldn't use this form. And we'll see that next. That'll be the next form. Okay. 이 선수에 대해 어떻게 생각해요? So what do you think about this player? The next form we're going to be learning is similar to this form. And that is you take a noun just like before. You attach a just like before. 대한. And then, following that, you'll add another noun. So what this means is a noun that is about this noun. This is how you say about whenever you're describing a noun. So before we had describing an action, and this time we have describing a noun. So if you're doing something that's about something, you would use the other form. But if you're talking about a noun that is about something, for example, a television program about a celebrity, then you would use this form because you're describing a noun. In fact, if you're curious, this 대한, which we'll talk about in a second, this 대한 is itself an adjective. So it has to be followed by, it needs to be followed by some sort of noun, at least in meaning. It might not be directly after it, but it's going to be describing a noun because it's an adjective. Okay, so let me see. Do I want to give you a sentence first? Yeah, I think I just want to give you a sentence first. I think that'll make it easier. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an example sentence. Okay. I'm also going to say in advance, sometimes both this form and the previous form can be used in a sentence, but their meaning will be different. 저에 대한 소문을 들었다고요? 저에 대한 소문을 들었다고요? me, 대한, 소문. 소문 is a rumor. So, a rumor that is about me. 듣다 is to listen. 들었다. If you don't know, I got a donation. Let me check that. Oh, awesome. Put that away. Brienne, thank you so much. Put your name up here for the rest of the live stream. Let's do 10 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you so much. Very nice. Brienne M. Nice. Okay. So, 듣다 is to listen or hear something. So you've heard. Are you saying that you heard? Now, if you don't know this quoting form, you can just think of this as 들었어요. So 들었어요, you heard, but it is actually a quoting form in this usage. 저에 대한 소문을 들었다고요? So you're saying you heard a rumor that is about me? You heard a rumor about me, you say? Literally, like that. 저에 대한 소문을 들었다고요? Okay. Again, this form is about a noun. So it's when you're describing a noun. So literally, a rumor that is, the rumor itself is about me. Or we can translate it, a rumor concerning me, a rumor that's regarding me, or a rumor with respect to me. Whatever way makes sense to you. Okay. Let me do one more. Then I'm going to talk about how they're different. Okay. 철수에 대한 제 생각이 틀렸네요. 철수 is just our friend. 철수. I can't even say it in English. 철수. So something that is about 철수. Well, what is about 철수? 제 생각. My thought. This isn't me about 철수. This is my thought that is about 철수. So my thoughts about 철수, 틀리다 is to be wrong or incorrect. So they were wrong. So literally, my thoughts that are about 철수 were wrong. And it ends with 네요. So you're expressing surprise. Like, hey, I was wrong about 철수. My thoughts about 철수 were wrong, is what you're saying. 철수에 대한 제 생각이 틀렸네요. Okay, again, because we're using 대한, we're specifically talking about describing a noun. So it's something, a noun, that is about whatever it comes after. In this case, 철수. Okay. One more sentence and then I'm going to show you the difference. Actually. 얘기를 하고 있었어요. Okay. 전기 자동차에 대한 얘기를 하고 있었어요. 전기 is electric. 자동차, car. So electricity or electric car. 에 대한, about. So what is it going to be about? Electric cars. That is 얘기. Also 이야기. So 이야기, or in more common conversations, conversation, we just say 얘기, which means a conversation. 얘기를 하고 있었어요. So a conversation that is, so the conversation itself is about electric cars. And what are we going to do with that conversation? Well, we are simply 하고 있었어요. So we were having a conversation about electric cars, literally a conversation that is on electric cars or about electric cars or regarding, concerning, with respect to, anything like that. So again, it actually is describing this noun that it's talking about. A conversation that is about whatever comes before, which is electric cars. 전기 자동차에 대한 얘기를 하고 있었어요. So we were talking about electric cars. Okay. Not done. So we talked about using 대해 and 대해서 as well as now 대한. So we've talked about these two different forms, but actually, sometimes both forms can be correct. I want to talk about, let me give you an example sentence. Look at this sentence. Think about this sentence. 한국 역사에 공부를 했어요. So I studied about 한국 역사, Korean history. Which form would you use in this sentence and why? I want you to think about it. You can write it in chat. I want you to also write why you think that. Because that's the important part, not just guessing. Anyone can flip a coin and guess 50-50 and you'd be right, half of the time. I want to know why. UK Life says charsu sound. That's charsu. Charsu. This is charsu. There's no charsu bao. Okay. Look at this again. Look at the sentence. Don't just think about the English translation, but look at the actual Korean sentence. Okay, some people guessing tehe because 했어요, you're doing an action. Some people guess tehan because 공부 is a noun, study. Okay, small is saying both work, okay? Couple people saying just this one or just this one because nouns, doing action. And I want you to think about this, really. This is good, a good exercise. Think about why. Okay, I'll give you another 1 minute, then I'm going to stop you. Okay, I'm going to stop you early. Okay, stop. Now what I want you to do is, whatever you guessed, because I'm not going to tell you the answer yet, whatever you guessed, pretend it's the other answer. Pretend you got it wrong. Okay? Pretend that you got it wrong. Or pretend that's not the right answer. So I'll say that. Pretend the other thing is the answer now. Why would you justify the other answer? So I want you to, again, write in the chat the opposite answer that you previously guessed, the one you didn't guess, and why it would be that. And I want you to think about it. I don't want you to just copy what other people said. I want you to think about why that could be the right answer. I'll give you 30 seconds for that. If you guessed both, you don't have to do this. You're already done. I can't really tell you to do it again if you already guessed both. But only a few people guessed both, so. Yeah, Lauren, we're going to talk about it because this is the only thing that I think is tricky about these form is when do you use one or the other? Because they kind of seem like it makes sense, but then when do you use one or the other? Okay. I'm just curious what you're writing. I'm reading everything. Okay, another 20 seconds. So I want you to think, if you were wrong, what would the other answer be? And why would it be that? Someone's asking about the object marker. This is just optional anyway, so. Okay. Okay. Good. This is just a thought experiment. Now, everyone is correct. Everyone got it right. Because you can actually use either form in this sentence. So let's first start with the form 대해. 한국 역사에 대해 공부를 했어요. So now we have a sentence that means I did studying. So I studied. 공부했어요 is I studied. So I studied. What did I study? The action of studying is about 대해, Korean history, 한국 역사. So I studied about Korean history. And here, because we have 에 대해 and not 에 대한, we're talking about an action. So I did something that was about Korean history. What was it that I did? Well, I 공부를 했어요. I did studying. Literally, I did study. So I studied about Korean history. Perfect. And in fact, this is probably the more common one you would see, because what would we say in English? I studied Korean history. That's what we mean. I studied about Korean history. But it's not the only answer. You could also put 대한, and the sentence is also correct. But the meaning changes, because remember, 대한, although it means about, this is about when you're describing, not necessarily describing, yeah, when you're describing a noun. So anytime you're describing any noun, so a noun that is about something. So if you can think of the translation as that is about, and not just about, that will help you with this form. So think about 대한 as that is about, because it's for describing a noun, remember? If you translate as that is about and you're using an action, I studied that is about Korean doesn't make sense, right? It sounds awkward. So when you translate this, I recommend translating it as that is about. So something noun, that is about. That will help you distinguish these in your mind. Because if you translate this as this, it will make sense. So what does this sentence mean then if we use 대한? 한국 역사에 대한 공부. So I did, 했어요. I did studying. We still get the same meaning. I studied. So I studied, but now you're simply doing studying that is about Korean history. So this is like saying, I did studying that's on Korean history. I did some studies on Korean history. That's what it sounds like. I did some studies on Korean history. It makes perfect sense. It sounds natural even, right? Now, it's probably not the more common way. You're probably just going to say, I studied about Korean history, but it's not wrong. It gives the meaning of something that is about. So the studying itself is about Korean history, and that's what I did. I'm not doing this example, though, to say that you can always switch these two forms. No, most of the time you can't. If you were to say, I don't know, 몰라요, about this book, 이 책에 대해 몰라요. You could not say, 이 책에 대한 몰라요. Because that would be like saying, I don't know that is about this book, right? Doesn't make any sense. But you could read a summary that's about a movie. That is about. I read a summary that's about a movie. Or I watched a movie. You could say, I watched a movie about Korean history. We could change this sentence to this. 한국 역사에 대한 영화를 봤어요. So I saw a movie, the movie that is about Korean history. So I saw a movie about Korean history. You wouldn't say 한국 역사에 대해 영화를 봤어요, because that's describing the action. So I saw about Korean history a movie. Like, you're not about Korean history the way you're seeing. You're seeing simply a movie. So in that case, because you're describing the movie is about Korean history, you have to use 에 대한. So anytime you can say that is about, when you translate it, you need to use 대한. So that's a little trick. I watched a movie about Korean history. Which one should I use? I watched a movie that is about Korean. If it makes sense, that is about Korean history, then you have to use 대한. I read a book about cheese. I read a book that is about cheese. You have to use 대한. It doesn't matter if the sentence is organized differently. So if you can replace it with that is about, because it literally does mean that is about, then you must use this form. Does that help? This is a little translation trick. The actual difference between these two forms is more of a feeling. When you use 대해, it feels like you're talking about you're going to do something. And when you use 대한, it feels like you're just describing something. The same way you would describe anything using descriptive verbs, saying the sad person or the happy movie, anything like that. It feels like that when you use 대한. It really feels like an adjective. That's the difference. But in English, and as a beginner, you need tips. You need tricks you can use to help you with this. And that's how you can do this. Anytime it does make sense, you need to use 대한. And then if it works with both, for example, in our sentence, I studied about Korean history. What would you say? I studied that is about Korean history? No, you would say I studied about Korean history. But if you use that is about Korean history, then you have to translate it differently because it uses 공부 as a noun. So Korean, they do a lot of that where the noun is separate. If, however, let me show you one more example. Actually, before I give you the answer, what's the answer to this? What is the answer to this sentence? 한국 역사에 가르쳤어요. Give me your answers. What do you think? 보리 says 이 책에 대해 몰라요. No, that's fine. You could say that. Hey, H Mac. Thank you. Oh, that's Canadian. Let's put 7. Thanks, eh? Let's do 7 dabs. Those were 7 Canadian dabs for you. Thank you. And I'm sorry. Okay, a lot of people guessing tehe, a couple people guessing tehan. Yes, it's in this sentence, you could not use tehan. Where is the noun? What is being described? The noun doesn't always have to come directly after this form, though. You'll notice that it doesn't have to, because you can describe things and sometimes the adjective will come a little bit early in the sentence. As we saw in that one example, 에 대한 제 생각. Remember, it wasn't right after. It was my thoughts, which was right after. But there is no noun at all in here. It's only an action. 한국 역사에 대해 가르쳤어요 is the only answer. Because I taught, that is about Korean history, doesn't even make sense. I taught about Korean history. The end. Yeah. So I hope that kind of helps clarify. Again, when you're using 대해, you're focusing on the action. When you're using 대한, you're focusing on describing the noun in the sentence. Okay. One more note before we go on to our next form. There's 2 more forms we have to go on. But this form, 대해서, 대한, notice that they look similar. Well, that's not a coincidence. Both of these actually come from a verb, which is 대하다. 대하다. 대하다 conjugates. 대해서 and 대한. 대하다 itself is a verb that means to face or to make something the subject. Let me just write it here. So to face or to make something the subject. That's what this verb originally means. You don't really need, though, to know that. So when you say 대해서, you're actually just conjugating this in the regular 요 form without adding the 요. You're doing the standard conjugation. So really, like, making this the subject. I did something. Action. I did something. So making Korean history the subject, I taught it. Or I learned it, or I studied it, whatever. Making Korean history the subject, I want to know about it, whatever. 대한, this is the descriptive verb, this is the regular conjugation. So something that was made the subject of whatever. So if we have Korean history and we have a book here, well, it is a book that was made into the subject about whatever you put before her. So that's why this one is conjugated the way it is. This is the regular conjugation that changes it into an adjective. So 대한 is actually an adjective. That's where this comes from. This is more of an intermediate note, though. You don't really need to know this, but maybe it helps you. It might. Maria, let's see what Maria wrote. Just saw there's 8 more days for 12 months sub. Nice. You're gonna get a new little icon by your name. I know it happens after a year. I can't remember which one is it. If it's Tarsu or I think it might be Tarsu, or it's either the star or something like that. Or maybe it's the Korean flag. I actually don't remember. There are a few of them, like the higher ones are very rare. 대해요. No. This is used as a grammar form. So you're not going to see it as 대해요. 대해요. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't mean this form so much. It would simply be ending the sentence. Like if they would think you're saying 대해 plus 요, which ends a sentence politely. They wouldn't think you're trying to conjugate this verb if you were to use it. So it's not used in other conjugations. Like you're not going to see 대했던 or anything like that. It's simply used in these, but it did originally come from this verb. Okay. So that is all about 대해 and 대한. If you know that, you'll easily be able to learn the next 2 forms we're going to learn. The next forms we're going to learn are more for intermediate level. And these ones are 관해 or 관해서 and 관한 with a noun. These have the same meaning as 대해서 and 대한, and the same usage, and the same translation. The only difference is, if you're comparing these forms with the previous ones, these forms sound very slightly stronger. They're a little bit less common, and these ones sound more formal or official. So you might hear these ones in a speech. More often, though, you'll find these in official writing, like maybe a document for something might have this instead of 대하다. I've researched the difference between these 2 forms, and you can find a lot of random stuff about them if you search in Korean. Like this form has a different emphasis, or this form does this. It is the exact same meaning, so don't worry about it. They have the same meaning. Again, this one just is a bit stronger, less common, sounds more formal and more official. Because of that, you will not use this form when you're just speaking normally. You probably wouldn't use it even when you're trying to speak politely. It has more of an official feel to it, not just formal as in more polite. No, it's not more polite necessarily than 대하다. It just sounds more fancy formal, more official than 대하다. Hey, Fox. Thanks, Fox. Give you 2 dabs. Appreciate it. So don't worry about this one. It doesn't work differently. It doesn't have like minute details that are different. It's the exact same usage. Again, it's less commonly used, but know that it exists. So I'm going to give you 2 example sentences using these, one with each form. You can also find a couple more examples in the worksheet for the lesson if you want to see it. This is one of those forms that I recommend being aware of, but not using. You won't see it that commonly. And again, this is more intermediate. So the sentence I'm using is kind of more of an intermediate sentence. In case you're wondering, in case you're not able to understand it, if you're not at the level yet, don't worry, it's intermediate. Feel free to try though. 메이크업에 관해서는 누구보다 자신 있어요. 메이크업에 관해서는. So this is just for emphasis. So when it comes to makeup, concerning makeup, regarding makeup, with respect to makeup, or about, on, anything. So when it comes to makeup, 누구보다, more than anyone, 자신 있어요. Literally, there is confidence. So I have more confidence than anyone when it comes to makeup. 메이크업에 관해서는. So about makeup. This is just more emphatic, again, just to add more emphasis. You could remove it. 누구보다, I think it's like I spit on here or something. I don't know where that came from. 누구보다 자신 있어요. 메이크업에 관해서는 누구보다 자신 있어요. So when it comes to makeup, I'm more confident than anyone else. I have more confidence than anyone when it comes to makeup. Like that. 메이크업에 관해서는 누구보다 자신 있어요. Okay. Let's do one more sentence with this form. Oh, and I should mention, of course, you could change that sentence to 메이크업에 대해서는 누구보다 자신 있어요. And it has the exact same meaning and exact same nuance, emphasis, everything. Simply it sounds, if you use 대해 instead of 관해, it has less of that official fancy feel to it. Okay, 분리수거. 분리수거 is, we would say recycling in English, but this is in Korea how you have to separate your trash into different types of trash. So you have the pet bottles. You have like the random plastic stuff. You'll have, wood or paper or anything like that, burnable items. You'll have like, batteries or whatever. You separate everything. 분리수거에 관한 제 의견. 의견 is opinion. So my opinion about recycling, separating trash. As for my opinion about separating trash, well, 변하다 means to change. 변하지 않았어요. It hasn't changed. It did not change. So again, 관한. We're going to be describing a noun. So what noun are we describing? Well, my opinion. So my opinion, that is about separating trash, recyclables, has not changed. So my opinion on recycling hasn't changed. 분리수거에 관한 제 의견은 변하지 않았어요. 분리수거에 관한 제 의견은 변하지 않았어요. Nice. Okay. I meant to put confidence. Oh, I didn't see your original message. Okay. Again, the exact same as saying 대한 in nuance, everything. Just has the 관한 just has more of an official, more of a formal, fancy feel to it. Fancy feel. 분리수거에 대한 제 의견은 변하지 않았어요. Perfect. Same meaning. So you will not use 관한 or 관해 very much. I really don't recommend ever using them yourself in speaking. I'm not saying that because, oh, you're not a native Korean, don't use it. No, it's because they're not used very much. You will see them, though, in sometimes, from now and again, in written form. Like kind of maybe formal written. If you read books, if you read books, you might find them. Specifically textbooks, you'll find them, or news articles, you'll find them. Speeches, you might find them, but you're not going to hear them in your regular conversations with your friends. You wouldn't say, 분리수거에 관한 you wouldn't with your friend. 내 의견은 변하지 않았어. You wouldn't say that. That sounds like a little bit too fancy. Like you're mixing in fancy speech with casual speech. It would sound awkward. Okay. One more thing. I said that these come from the verbs 대하다, and then 관하다 is the other one. Because these are from older conjugation, because these are from older verbs, sorry, what am I trying to say? Modern day Korean, you conjugate like this, 대해 or 관해 or 서. But in older Korean, and sometimes in written Korean, you might find an older conjugation, which is 하여. So instead of 대해, you might also find 대하여. And instead of 관해, you also might find 관하여. These would be only in written form. You're not going to hear these. Less common, older usages in written form only. But be aware of them. You can actually just memorize that 해 sometimes changes into 하여 because it's not only this form. Just keep that in mind. Anytime you see 하다, it could, in written form, in older written form, become 하여. It has the same meaning as 해. Okay. And with that, we are done with our lesson. Really quick. I'm going to do a Q&A so you can ask any questions you want. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Really quick announcements, though. Again, worksheets and outlines are all on Patreon. You can get these for just $1. So that's just a thank you for your support. If you are a member of this channel, you get to watch the abridged versions the same day that the live stream happens. So tonight, you can watch the abridged version of today's lesson. If you are not already, there is an active and open and free Discord channel. That is official for my YouTube channel, but it's not just about my stuff. It's actually mostly not. It just has my name on it. It is open for learning Korean, asking questions, making friends, any of that. So check it out. I put a link in the chat just now. Also, there's merchandise pinned to the chat if you're looking for another way you can support me. I have a bunch of stuff there. A couple of things were also designed by my wife, so go check that out as well. And if you are a member, you also get, from today, you can watch all of the episodes for Master Politeness levels. They are all up right now. All 24 episodes are viewable if you are a member of this channel. Hey, Glass Artist! Glass Artist! Thank you! Nice, Glass Artist. Let me do 10 dabs. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Really appreciate it. Oh, Autumn Love and Paul. Hold on. Paul's first. I think my board just broke because I got 2 donations at the same time. I have to turn off the board. Hold on. How do I do that? Where'd that go? Okay, there we go. Paul C. Thank you, Paul. Let's see what you wrote. 그동안 고생 많았어요. Thank you, Paul. Do 5 dabs. 3, 4, 5. 5 dabs for Paul. Let's see, who else do we get? Autumn Love. Also with a $5 donation, Autumn Love says... Oh, you sent a sticker that says Hiya. Thank you, Autumn. I'll give you 5 dabs as well, and then I'll check to see who else just sent something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I going to be doing a lot of dabs? I guess. Let's see. Glass Artist, stay safe and stay well during your travels. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be going to Korea in the end of this month. Just a few weeks. M&M Twix asks, this whole time I was wondering why I'd gotten a goat emoji now. Yeah, it's a goat. We started that in 2018. We were the goats. But I haven't used the fandom name that much. So maybe I should start using that. H-Mac, again. Again with the Canadian money. I will gladly accept your Canadian money for the next time I go to Canada. Hold on, I gotta do a little dance for H-Mac. 14 dabs. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Thank you, HMAC. Let's see who else. Nana R. Nana, welcome. New member. Yes, again, if you are a member, as I was saying, if you are a member, you get to watch the entire course, Master Politeness Levels, completely. You can watch all 24 episodes right now. They're all up. If you're not a member, you can still watch it for free. You just have to wait. It'll go up one new episode a week. Right now, we're on episode 4. But if you're a member, make sure to check that out. You can see the entire course today. It's all ready. Let's see who. Oh, Carrie. Carrie. Thank you so much, Carrie. Wow, $20. Awesome. Woot. I haven't seen Woot since I was in like high school. It was like, it used to be so common. I still like it though. It's still kind of a fun exclamation. Carrie, thank you so much. Let me do some dabs as well. Oh wait, I already have these other. Uh-oh. Cool. Okay, well whatever. We're doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh. Look, I turned those off. Okay. Thank you, Carrie. And again, the board is frozen. Let's unfreeze that. Okay. Lauren. Lauren, thank you. Again, I should I said this at the beginning, but I should do a quick reminder. This is the last classroom until the end of August. Maybe middle if I can do it. Depends on exactly how my schedule is when I get back. But the end of August, so about 3 full months, this will be the last live class. Thank you, Lauren. Let's see. We're making sure you get your dabs in before you leave. Thank you so much for these lessons. Yes, thank you very much, Lauren. Let me give you 5 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as a reminder, if you have any, I haven't asked this openly yet on my channel, but I will ask it soon. If you have requests for videos while I'm in Korea, you can send those on Discord. First, I actually asked a week ago or so, I asked my Patreon members for suggestions. I got some really good ones. A few of them I actually added to my list already. So I already have plans to make a few of those that I got. If you have other requests, feel free to make them on my Discord, or you can leave a comment on my YouTube channel. Oh, yeah, I'm getting a workout here. Yeah, so again, if you are a member, make sure to check out the full Master Politeness Levels course. There are 24 episodes, and you can watch all of them right now. I especially recommend watching 21 and 22. Episode 20 is okay. 21 and 22, those are my favorite ones. Those are the ones I was most proud about, and they're really long. Other than that, I also really like episode 8, which is, and I know I already posted that a long time ago for members, but that one also has is really long lesson about all the ways to say you. What is DKK? Maria Kitty, what is DKK? Donkey Kong. Danish kroner. Danish krone. Every time I hear Danish, I think of pastries. If you gave me 100 pastries, that would be amazing. $14. That's not bad at all. Thank you. Maria Kitty. Kitty. Thank you. I'm going to give you 14. I'll give 15 dabs. Let's do 15 dabs. Round it up. Round up for charity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Did you make a message I can read? I don't see a message. Okay, you give me the happy face. Thank you. Please convert it. Don't do 100. Yeah, I wasn't about to. I was like, wait a minute. D-K-K. Donkey Kong. Nice. Would point 18 of a dab. What would point 18 of a dab? I don't know. I mean, a whole dab is like that. So it would be like 18. It'd be like this. Kind of like you're just asking someone to please excuse me, and you're moving your way through a crowd. You could probably do that. Yeah, so that was the lesson. I'm going to be here for, let's just say 15 minutes. So you can ask me anything you... Oh, hold on. I got to move these. So you can ask me anything you want for the next 15 minutes. And then I'm going to take off. And this will not be the last live stream. I'll say that. I'll try to do one more live stream before I go to Korea. So maybe after a couple weeks, I'll try to do another live stream. It won't be a class though. And when I'm in Korea, again, once a month at least, I'll try to do a live stream just to say hi, show you someplace cool while I'm in Korea, just like I did the last time. But those also will not be classes. So if there are topics you want to learn about, you'll have to wait until August when I will start up this again. The course is not going away. I like doing these live streams. I'll keep doing them when I get back, but they will have to take a break because I can't do them when I'm in Korea. Lately, I'm actually getting prepared a lot for Korea. I'm like packing every single day, planning every single day. Yeah, it's going to be a big trip. I'm going to be there for almost 3 months. That's why you have to wait 3 months or so before the next class. But yeah, I'll be in Korea during most of that time. Audrey says, I have a question. How come chuda becomes chuda does not become chuonde. Chuda becomes, you're thinking of chupda. Chupda, not chuda. Chuda would be to dance. That's where you get the noun chum, meaning a dance. But chupda, to be cold, becomes chuonnende. The simple reason why is because a descriptive verb, when you're conjugating it, I'll just say, I don't even need to say descriptive. Most of the time it's descriptive verbs though. But anytime you have a verb that ends with that letter, when you're conjugating, you'll remove it and you'll attach u. And then you finish whatever conjugation. So the past tense is like that. Well, what am I trying to do? Like chuossoyo or chuotta or whatever you want to do. The present tense is just chuoyu, like that. The more complicated explanation is because this letter, originally there was another letter that, I think it was this one, that had a like a W sound kind of. Chuo, 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 like maybe like a V. I don't know. I'm not the person to ask about ancient Hangul. I actually do have a friend who would be the person to ask about that. But it had a softer sound, like a V sound. So originally when you conjugate it, you get chuo, you would get chuvo, chuvo. So that's where you get the u sound in today. And that was a different letter, and it combined over time, merged with another piup, which was the stronger one we know today, like pa, po. It merged with that one. So it's written the same way, but originally it would have been a different sound. So that's why you get a different sound when you're conjugating it. This marker's time to go. HMAC, about the old form being like Shakespearean English. No, yeah, it would be more like just written form. So yeah, maybe not as far back as Shakespeare, but I would say anytime 100 years ago. I would assume that if it was written like that in the old times, it would have also been spoken that way though as well. The jars of kimchi floating around. Yeah, I have 4 buttons. I should add another one, but I have 4. And they're all made by me. And the kimchi is that's one of them. I have kimchi jars. One matim to rule them all, yes. Ninde, that's because Audrey's asking, why does chupda become chuonninde when it's a descriptive verb, and descriptive verbs would be chunde. So the unde, not nunde. This is only for action verbs. It's past tense. Past tense, it doesn't matter if it's an action verb or descriptive verb. Past tense is always nunde. Present tense is what changes. Chunde is present, but if you have hada, to do, it's hanunde, not hande, if it's an action verb. If this is a descriptive verb, you would get hande. If this is going all over your head, don't worry. It's just, you just have to learn this form, the te form, and it'll be all contained in any te form lesson. They'll cover all of this stuff. But yeah, just quick review. So that's why this is past tense. It's always, no matter what verb you're using, the past tense ending for this will always be nunde with this. 100%. Doesn't matter what verb it is. Action, descriptive. Like a lot of the rules you learn for conjugation only apply to, well, for different forms, are specifically for present tense. But when you get to past tense, a lot of them merge together. It's the same for many other grammar forms as well. When you're in Korea, please do a live stream from the ocean. Ocean. Kind of like today. Kind of like I am today. At the beach. Kind of like this. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure because it has to be somewhere that I can get to in the morning. I have to do the live streams early in the morning so that they're not too late in other parts of the world. So I usually start them, I think, like at 10 o'clock, which means I have to wake up really early and travel somewhere to get somewhere else by 9 o'clock. And that limits me kind of to a small area around where I'm at. So if there's a beach I can find or something nice. Yeah, there is a mud flats, actually, not too far. There's a mud flats I could get to. We'll see. We'll see. We will see. Yeah. Katie, I get it. Now go. Please just leave now. The time difference and jet lag. Okay, as far as the time difference goes for jet lag, by the way, the word for time difference, why did I write it in one letter? The word for time difference literally is shi time ta, difference. Shi ta is also the word you use to say jet lag. So you say, I'm tired because of jet lag. You say, I'm tired because of shi ta. When you go to Korea and come back from Korea, it's different, obviously. But your experience on your body is much different too. Typically, when you travel west, it's not so hard for your body. Your body adjusts pretty quickly to traveling west. So for someone like me, if you're in California, you're in the US, and you travel west to go to Korea, there's not a big amount of jet lag you're going to experience. All you need to do is wait until it's a reasonable hour. So let's say you arrive in Korea at, it doesn't matter when you arrive. Let's say even if you arrive in the early morning or late at night, doesn't matter. Whenever you arrive, go to bed at around a reasonable time at night. 7 o'clock at the earliest to like 11 o'clock or 12 at the latest. Doesn't matter. You'll be fine. Your body quickly adjusts to that. It feels like to your body, it feels like you simply stayed up late one night and you're okay. Like you'll have a little bit of jet lag effects, but it's not too bad. When you go east, however, so whenever I come home from Korea back to LA, that's when it wrecks you. That's when your body is completely messed up and it feels like you're opposite, like you're sleeping when you should be awake. Even though you're also doing that when you go to Korea, the feeling on your body is simply that you just stayed up really late one night. Like you stayed up until 6 a.m. one night or something, 8 a.m. But you're okay for the most part. Going back, though, is not. Going back, though, there are some tricks you can do to mitigate that, reduce it. But you're going to have some sort of jet lag regardless when you go back east. There are tricks if you want to know, because I've done the trip way more times than I can count. I've gone to Korea once or twice, sometimes every single year since 2005. So yeah, I'm really used to the trip, but you still get some jet lag. Someone asks why? I have no idea. I have no idea why. Yeah. Small, I have to go east. Well, then when you come back, you won't have as much jet lag when you come back. Like I said, if you go west to get to Korea, then you don't have jet lag when you're in Korea. If you go the other way, you'll have jet lag when you get back home. And sometimes both of them can be worse because when you come back home, you have to like go to work, but you have huge jet lag in the US. Whereas in Korea, you're just vacationing. So it depends. Where would you rather have the jet lag? During your vacation or back at home? They're both terrible, but yeah. Stationary Bunny says, I went to the Netherlands and the 6-hour jump forward wasn't too bad. Yeah, the jump, going one direction, or if you go a little bit, like a few hours, it's not that bad either. But you'll find that, going west to Korea is pretty easy. Usually my symptoms are slight headache, like as if I stayed up really late. And I'll wake up early the next morning. I won't sleep like a ton the next morning, even though I hadn't slept in like 36 hours or wherever. Still, after the next morning, you'll sleep like maybe 6 hours and you'll wake up with the sun. You're like, oh, I feel okay with a bad headache. But then the next night you'll sleep and you'll feel better the next day. So it doesn't really affect, like even the first day I'm in Korea, I'm good to go for meeting friends and doing things. I'll just have like, kind of like, reddish eyes and I'll be a little tired and that's it. You know who never gets jet lag? Keycat. Yeah, Keycat doesn't get jet lag. Definitely. Also, little kids are usually pretty good with it. They don't seem to care. The older you get, and I don't mean like old, but just anything over like, any teenager and older, it really starts to affect you. Typically, I'll have jet lag symptoms when I come back from Korea, 2 to 3 weeks, where it's messing up how I feel or what time I feel hungry or when I want to sleep. Effects for like 2-3 weeks is normal. But like, especially for the first 2-3 days, I just feel like really out of it. 아무 때나? That means anytime. 아무 데나 is any place. Different words. If you're talking about 아무 때나, 아무 때 is any. 때 means time. 대 means place. Yeah, typically 2 to 3 weeks I find is normal. Like, it doesn't mean you can't do anything for 2 to 3 weeks, but typically it'll be like, I'll feel exhausted, maybe at like 8 or 9 p.m. And my body just really just wants to sleep. And which is not normal because I would want to stay up a little later. So you'll sleep. You won't sleep that great. You might wake up a little bit at night and then you'll fall back asleep. And then you'll finally wake up at like, 6 a.m. or something. You'll feel tired in the afternoon. You'll want to take a nap, but you don't have to, but you feel like you want to. It kind of, that sort of stuff is the effects of jet lag that kind of go on for 2 to 3 weeks. But the initial jet lag of, I just can't stay awake, like this is too much, that's like just a couple days. 나이 더 먹으면 시차 어려워요. 힘들어져요. 힘들어져요. 어렵다 is something is like mentally difficult. And 힘들다 is something is physically difficult. So you can have things that are both 어렵다 and 힘들다. But if you're talking about jet lag, that would be 힘들다 because it's physically difficult. Yes, small is correct. Small is, someone asked about 지금 and 이제, and small has the correct answer. Yeah, feel free to ask any other questions. I'll be here for another 5 minutes. And then I won't see you again until I do the next live stream. And the next live stream, I said, will not be a class until the end of August. So this is the last class until the end of August. It's not the last one. I promise I'm not taking a permanent break. I'm not going to the store to get milk. I'm coming back. But I do every year I do take a break for a few months. Since I started anyway, to do Korea stuff. I have some fun ideas for videos I'm going to do this time. I'll also do some more interviews. Please give us some of your tips to overcome. Well, who's going to Korea? If you're going to Korea, if there are some people going to Korea, I can give tips. If no one's going to Korea though soon, I'd rather answer other questions. Anessa, is the hotel cost cheap or expensive? You say hotel? Expensive. Because they're going to assume you don't know how much stuff in Korea costs, and they're just going to charge what you're used to in the States. So you might pay $200-300 a night for a hotel in Korea. Because you're saying, I just need a hotel. They think, oh, dumb foreigner. Here's where you can stay. No. If you look for like the brands that you're familiar with, you're going to find the prices you're familiar with in Korea. If you want to stay, though, in like Airbnb type of places, it's going to be fairly cheap. Like, depending on what kind of place you need, you're going to find places that are $40 a night, to up to $100 or $200 a night, depending on what you like. If you want a really nice place. And it also depends really on location. You could get the exact same place in 2 different cities, and one would be $30 a night and the other would be $300 a night. So I'm guessing you'd probably stay somewhere in Seoul in a busy area. So plan for, if you're going to stay in a hotel, plan for like $200 a night or something. But if you're okay with Airbnb, you're okay with staying at a smaller place, or maybe you don't even need a hotel. Maybe you can stay at cheaper places. Then you can find other options. For example, one of my friends, when he went to Korea, every time he stayed at a jjimjeolbang, which is basically a sauna. So it's a sauna. You can rent lockers there, and the locker rental would be typically, I think they'd be like free once you've already gotten in. So you'd pay like $20 to stay over there, $20 to $40 to stay overnight at a jjimjeolbang, and they have showers there. You can sleep. They have little pillows. You sleep on the floor, but it's comfortable. You wear pajamas, and they have vending machines in there. And he would just put his stuff in a locker that after paying to get in, put his stuff in a locker and stay there, and then go out during the day and play and come back at night, relax, wake up in the morning, take a nice hot shower, and then go back out again. If you don't need a lot of storage space and you don't mind having no privacy, that's another option too, and it's pretty cool. So there are a lot of options. $3 months. Yeah, and if you stay a long time, they're going to be more than happy to provide you with a deal because they don't want to have to deal with scheduling tons and tons of people to make that money. They'd be happy to give you a discount if you stay for a longer time. And I actually almost did stay at a Airbnb last year when I went. Usually though, what I heard that they do is a lot of the places will actually schedule it really cheap and then say, contact me. And then when you contact them, they actually ask you to pay more. And if you don't, then they cancel it because they don't want to deal with Airbnb. That's what I heard. They just want to deal, like pay me directly for my services and you can stay here. That's what I heard. A lot of them do. I don't know if it's only Korea though. Stationary bunny. Yes, that's correct. That was removed. Let's see. CC says, be cautious about spy cameras. That's kind of a scare thing. Yes and no. It's not that common, but yes, it does exist. If you want to check, you can, it's pretty easy. Turn off the lights, open your cell phone camera. Your cell phone cameras can see infrared. Just look around your room with the camera. If you see any little infrared dots, well, there you go. There's a camera. There's probably not going to be any, but you can do a check if you want. Really easy. But no, it's kind of a bit overblown. It's not really that common of a thing, but it is a thing, and not just in Korea though, but anywhere. I'm going before September. Nice. Okay, I'll give a couple tips for jet lag. Tips for overcoming jet lag. Number 1 is actually not sleep. Your body is pretty good about sleeping more or less on certain days, or even skipping a night of sleep, only sleeping for a couple hours. Your body's pretty good about that. If you've ever tried sleeping like just 2 hours one night and then, going the next day, you're going to be fine by the next day after that, once you just get another good night of sleep. Your body's pretty good about sleeping differently. What you're not used to the jet lag isn't just because you've missed sleep. The jet lag is because your body is adjusted to a certain schedule that includes sleeping, but it also includes resting. Like that's when your body knows I'm going to be relaxing my muscles is between these hours, even if you're not asleep. Like this is when I'm not going to be active usually. As well as eating and drinking. Your body knows this is the time when I can relax your digestive system. I don't need to use the bathroom right now because it's sleep time. If you mess that up, then you're going to have trouble sleeping because your body's going to think, oh, it's okay for me to use the bathroom now. When you're trying to sleep, you're going to wake up and have to go to the bathroom more just because your body doesn't think you're supposed to be awake during that time or sleeping. So a lot of it also comes down to your eating. And a good way to help train your body again that, hey, I'm back in my hometown. We're ready to go to, this is my schedule now. A really good way is by eating, whether you feel hungry or not. Give yourself a simple breakfast Give yourself a simple lunch and give yourself a simple dinner. 3 meals. Now, I'm not telling you to eat tons of food. Don't go to like Denny's and get like the giant, like the chocolate chip pancake or whatever, and then also have a giant lunch and then also have a big dinner, full pizza. I mean, have something that tells your body, hey, I'm eating now. Hey, I'm eating again. And, drink plenty of water and let your body think, hey, this is the schedule to get adjusted to. One of the things that people do when they're jet lagged, that they just think, oh, I'm just going to eat normal. Oh, it's not lunchtime yet. I'll wait. Oh, okay, now I'll have lunch. Now I'll have dinner. Oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not going to have anything, because your body might not be hungry because this is the time you're sleeping. So your body's not going to feel hungry when you're sleeping, right? You might want a midnight snack, but like at 3, 4 a.m., if you're normally sleeping, your body's not going to feel hungry. If you make yourself eat though during that time, you get used to that though. Help more quickly. Your body adjusts like, oh, okay, I see. This is when we're eating now. So eat regular meals. Drink plenty of fluids also. One thing is you'll find you might get more sweaty because your body's thinking like, hey, this is when I'm relaxing right now, but you're active. I wasn't expecting you to be so active. I'm having trouble cooling myself. I'm having trouble keeping the right temperature. You're going to sweat more. So you need to drink more water. You're going to get dehydrated. It's just about regulating what your body expects. And then another is light. So one thing I recommend also when you're adjusting to your sleep, going there and coming back, is not doing too much artificial light. So the first day, not staying up really late. Like you arrive in Korea, you're like, oh, it's 6 p.m. or whatever, and I just got to my place. Don't just blog and use your computer until midnight and feel, oh, I'm tired, let's go to bed. No. Try to lie down when you can. Just try to relax. Lie down, relax. And then in the morning, even if you don't sleep very much, when the sun comes up, wake up. Just let your body kind of get used to the light, because that's another trigger for yourself to for your body to know, like, oh, it's time to wake up, is when you see sunlight, you're awake. Try to get out of the house a lot. Don't just stay at home if you can, especially for your first few days. Get out and do something. If you need to take a nap, try to avoid it. Try to sleep. If you feel like super exhausted during the afternoon, instead just say, I'm going to bed early, and go to bed at 5 or 6 o'clock. Have something to eat really quick. Just eat a really quick dinner. Go to bed, 6 o'clock, whatever. Sleep. You'll wake up at 3 in the morning. That's okay. Stay in bed. Just relax until the sun comes out. Just let your body relax. So tell your body, like, this is the time when I'm relaxing. Even if you're not sleeping, it's okay. And that'll help you get over it more quickly. But there are some things that simply just take time. Your body does take several days just to adjust, to know that that's the new schedule. But this will help avoid things like bad headaches, feeling sick, feeling dizzy, and feeling just exhausted during the day. So those are my tricks that I use, and they work pretty good. Another one is on the plane there, or on the plane, especially when you're going on the plane east, but as well as when you're going west, sleep on the plane if you can. Sleep. Don't spend the whole plane ride watching movies and being excited and, playing with the screen and, checking your phone. Try to relax. Shut your eyes and try to relax on the plane trip, because you need to relax extra more before you get that. What am I saying? Extra more. Extra more needs to relax. But especially when you're going east, because that's when your body's switching over completely to a new time zone. So sleep on your way back east as much as possible, the whole way if you can. In fact, what I always do is, this is my special trick. I always do a custom meal on the air flight. So I'll order like a fruit plate, something really light, because I don't want to have the salty food. It's just too salty. It just makes me like sweat more and makes me uncomfortable. So I'll have like a fruit plate or something really light, eat it really quick, and just close my eyes. I'll put like an eye mask over, and I'll just relax on the whole plane flight. The lady will come by, or the guy will come by with the food. They'll see me sleeping. They'll put a sticker on the back of my seat. They won't bother me. They keep going. I don't even need to eat. You just sleep. When I get to my destination, my body has had a night of sleep. At least it's had some sleep, maybe 2 or 3, short naps that I've gotten during the trip. So when I get to LA again and it's early in the morning, I'm not exhausted. Even though my brain is messed up, I'm not tired. So I'm able to stay up until night at 8 o'clock or whatever, and then go to bed. And that really helps also, because if you don't sleep on the plane flight back, then in addition to jet lag, you're also really tired, like physically just sleepy from not sleeping enough. So that makes it really hard to adjust your schedule, and you'll feel so tempted to just want to sleep. Okay, those are all my tips. Hopefully those help someone out there. Yeah, and also I recommend don't even lean your chair back, because someone's gonna ask you to move it forward when it's their meal. Just keep your chair up, get a eye mask, and just sleep like that. Just do it. It's better than having to lean back and you fall. And right when you fall asleep, they say, "Oh, excuse me, you have to move your chair up," and then you can't sleep again. Okay, let's see. Sue says, "Are the Korean spas safe to stay overnight in?" Yes, they are. They're separated. They have a male one and a female one. And yeah, I haven't stayed overnight in one before, but like I said, I have a friend who does and who has before, and seems fine. Some people though do that anyway. Like if you miss the train, like you miss the last train or whatever, what are you going to do? Well, some people will go to a small hotel, or they'll go to Jimjirbang and sleep there, or they might go to, whatever like that. That's just an option. So some people do that anyway. Nathan says, caffeine. Yeah, those, then it depends how you react to those. Like for me, if I have caffeine, it just makes me exhausted the next day. For me, it basically takes the energy out of the next day and gives it to me today. So I don't like drinking that. So that wouldn't be a good option for me. But some people, they like that and maybe it'll help. So you can use that just to keep yourself awake. All right. Ellie's Korean language classroom. 안녕 빌리 선생님. 시차를 격하게 느끼고 싶네요. Okay. 여행 가고 싶어요. I really want to have jet lag. That's what she's saying. I've tried melatonin. Yeah, melatonin, about that. I have that as well. I don't take it normally. Apparently what I read is that if you take it the normal doses, okay, I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is what I've heard. Apparently the normal dosage of that is way too high. Like 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. That's way too high and you don't need that. And all it does is gives you like a headache or makes you feel weird. I heard that tiny doses work better of melatonin. Like less than 1 milligram. So I have like 2 milligram things and I'll break them in half and just slowly let that dissolve under my tongue. And that kind of works. Yes, that works. Does not give me a headache. But it's not sleep medicine. All it does is tells your brain, hey, it's bedtime. You feel tired? That's it. It doesn't make you sleep. It just kind of, it's like the part of your, it's one of the chemicals in your body that just tells you it's nighttime. That's it. It doesn't make you feel sleepy. It just says, hey, it's nighttime. Maybe you're sleepy and maybe you're sleepy. Like kind of like that, like when it gets late and you kind of remember, oh yeah, I feel kind of tired. That would be it. So really small amount I found works good. And if you have the full amount, it just makes me have like a headache and weird. And some people gives them like weird dreams or whatever. So anyway, I teach Korean. Okay. I don't know about this stuff professionally. This is just what I've heard. Anyway, yes. Thank you for coming to the live stream. We talked about a lot of things today. I had a great live stream. Just want to say thank you again to the people who did donate as well. Brianne, H. Mac, Fox, Glass Artist, Paul C., Autumn Love, again, H. Mac, R. I almost couldn't read that because of my own writing. Carrie, Lauren, and Kitty. Thank you to all of you. I will see you again in another live stream in a few weeks, but I will see you again in another classroom toward the end of August. So thanks for coming, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.